This is the beta walkthrough of my content creator template for Notion. It's called Publish OS. It might already have come out depending on when you're watching this. If the template is already out, it will be the pinned comment on this YouTube video and it will be linked in the description. This is going to be a very kind of casual video where I just walk through it and explain how it works and everything. If you have any suggestions, anything like that, please drop them in the comments. That's the reason I do these beta walkthroughs. I did this for my productivity template headquarters. I got some amazing feedback on the beta walkthrough video. So if you like what you see, drop that in the comments, let me know. And if there's anything that you would recommend changing, any other things that you want to see in here, please let me know in the comments because I want to make this a genuinely useful template. So I actually think this could be one of the best, if not the best, content creator template on the market. I've put a lot of effort into this template, so let's go through it. We'll start with up here maybe. So up here, just like the headquarters template, I have quick actions. They are just buttons for the things that you'll probably use the most. A new content idea, a new sponsor, a new keyword, a new experiment that you're running, and a new team task. If you're not at the stage where you have sponsors or a team, you can easily just delete these buttons if you don't need them. Or if you're a larger creator and you do have that, then these are very handy up the top here. So I'll go through the experiments and keywords later because I absolutely love these pages, to be honest. So this is our content calendar here. We are seeing it as a month, we are seeing it as a week's view, and we are seeing it as a sponsor view. So the sponsor view is basically just the month view, but we have a few different properties showing here. So to go through all of these properties, let's click on Content Idea. So anytime you have a new idea, you're going to click that button, or you can scroll down here and add it straight to your ideas by either clicking New or clicking on New here. But most likely you'll click the button at the top. Let's say I have a new video idea. Let's just do the Publish OS walkthrough, very matter of me. So I have a few different properties here, and you definitely don't have to fill out all of them, but some of this stuff will definitely help in just making your content process a bit smoother, a bit more streamlined. So first off, we have the stage. Is it planning, creating, editing, sponsor approval, like the sponsor stage, all of that stuff, and upload? If you do not fill this out and you leave it blank, it will just be considered an idea. So I have like between 100 and 200 video ideas, and they're all in the idea stage. And when I'm ready, I can move it onto the planning stage. So when I'm starting to take notes, stuff like that. And then after that stage, I can move it into the creating. So that would be me building the template or actually filming the video. After that, I move it to the editing stage. Again, if you don't have any sponsors, you can delete this if you want. If not, we have the sponsor stage. The sponsor stage is where we're going through sponsor approvals, the deals, contracts, all of that stuff. And then we have the uploaded. So once you've actually uploaded the video. So uploaded is considered whether it's live right now or it has been scheduled for the future. Either way, that is considered uploaded. Now the next stage here is channel. So a lot of you might be handling different accounts. You might have a YouTube channel, you might have a Instagram, you might have a TikTok, you might have a blah, blah, blah. So here you can select the channel to keep it organized. So I'm just going to create a new one just by typing here and then clicking on new. You can also create all your channels down below. Then we also have content pillar. So I found that it's been really useful to know the different pillars of content that I'm making. So for me, it typically falls under a how to build video where I go through and show how to build a template from scratch, or it's a template walkthrough video, or answering a common Notion question. Knowing these content pillars that I have makes it a lot easier for me to actually make content because I know I can go into these different pillars to get inspiration. This also helps a lot in the planning stage. Let's say you know that Tuesday is pillar number 1 day. Then you know you can go through content pieces that are just relevant to pillar 1 or pillar 2 or whatever it is. It makes the process a lot easier. Then we have the publish date, so that's when you intend to publish that piece of content. So I'm going to say the 23rd here. Then I've created this feature which I absolutely love called auto rank, and it uses competition level, search volume level, and timeliness. These three things will then automatically actually determine how important this video is and whether you should prioritize it or not. It's similar to the Eisenhower method that I use in my personal productivity template headquarters, and I've used that inspiration for content creators. So let's go through and answer these. Competition. Well, Publish OS walkthrough, I'm going to actually rename this to Content Creator Template. And the competition for this is medium, let's say that. The search volume for that is pretty high, and the timeliness is timeless. This is something that will be relevant tomorrow and relevant in 3 months. So adding these three things here helps me A, just determine right now, is this idea a good idea or not? But reason B, it actually gets put into this auto rank database and starts organizing it for me so I know if I should prioritize it or not. This piece of content won't have a sponsor, but I can add that here. Let's just say example. I can add example here. Then we have the sponsor amount, how much we're making. Let's say $3. It's not a great deal. Then we have the CTA. Now, the CTA is for the entrepreneurs out there. If you are a person creating content and you're selling your own products, whether that's physical products, digital products, coaching, whatever it is, you basically want to know what is the CTA for my piece of content. Now, obviously, not every single piece of content you make will have a CTA. So in here, we can plan and select what is the CTA that I'm actually driving people to. So for this piece of content I'm making, the CTA won't be Publish OS because it's not live yet. By the way, if you're watching this in the future and you're wondering, is this template out or not? It will be my pinned comment on this video. So there you can see if it is out or not. So the CTA for this video will honestly just be to get comments. I just want to get feedback from people. So later in the analytics section of this, we can track the CTA clicks. Then we have the sponsor deadline, the sponsor due date as a countdown, and the view results. So we're not going to fill out the view results. We're not going to fill out the CTA clicks, anything like that. But if we want to fill out the sponsor deadline, this is actually a roll-up. So first we'll answer these questions here, and then we will click on the sponsor. So I'm just going to click on example here. And here we can say if there's a deadline for the sponsor. I'm going to say that this ad integration is due today. Here we can fill out the sponsor contact that we're working with. I'm going to say Bob example. And we can fill out the stage that this sponsor is in. So inbound, I pitch to them, in talks, or sponsor. So for this example, we have jumped straight to sponsor. And then underneath here, we can see all content that this sponsor has been involved in. So it's been involved in just this video here, the content creator template video. So now I'll click away and we have added a piece of content. So if we scroll down, we can see that this content creator template video is sitting right here. We can see that it is going to be posted on YouTube, and we can see that the sponsor is example and that we're making $3 from that sponsor. So we're seeing these properties here under the sponsor view. If we click on the all content view, you can see it looks a bit different. On this one, all we're seeing is the name of the piece of content, which account or channel we're posting it to, and lastly, the stage. So we haven't filled out the stage. I'm going to say that this is in the sponsor phase, and we are waiting for them to respond to us. So as you can see, this is just one piece of content, so I'm just going to duplicate this a few times. We're going to get a really good understanding of when we're posting and what we're posting and to what channel we're posting. This has been so helpful in staying organized. Typically, I find one of the biggest bottlenecks to content creation is just the planning phase, knowing when everything is going to be posted. So this sorts that out. So I'm just going to delete these. So if we scroll down now, we can see the incomplete sponsor section. So again, this is vital if you have sponsors. It just lets us know when's the sponsor deadline, how many days until that sponsor is due. So it's due tomorrow. We have 1 day to do that. Who the sponsor is, how much the sponsor is paying us, what stage we're in, what channel, what piece of content, and when the actual publish date for the video is. This is a super useful view for people with sponsors. Then we have the content process stage. So I've created some fake ones here. I'll just delete them. I was testing it out. But in this stage here, we can easily just drag the content from what stage we are in. So a really big issue that I've seen with a lot of other content creator templates is they have an idea section here. Realistically, if you have, like me, between 100 and 200 video ideas or content ideas, it's going to be a very, very long list and super overwhelming and just not work very well. We don't need that for this section here. We only want to know from the planning stage onwards. So where are we tracking ideas? Well, that is down here below. We have the ideas section. So anytime you think of a new idea, blah, 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 that's a great idea. And blah, blah, that's also a great idea. So here we can track the ideas and we can see search volume, competition, and timeliness. Now, this view here only has a simple filter where the stage is empty. So the second we take this content from just an idea to actually being in this process, it will get removed. So let's say blah, blah, blah is ready to go from just an idea, so it being empty, to being in the planning stage. You can see it gets removed from here and gets added up here. Now, let's have a look at the auto rank feature. I absolutely love this, and there's even a separate page called auto rank. So we'll click on this, and here you can see the timeliness, the search volume, and the competition. So let's fill out blah, 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 and blah, blah. Let's say that this is trending, this is medium, this is low. So as you can see, it was jumping about there and actually reshuffling these. So we can see that blah, blah, blah is a trending topic right now, which means that, cool, we should be prioritizing this because it will be out of fashion very soon. So we should make that piece of content first. Now the search volume for this is only medium, but it doesn't matter because it is trending right now. So we should prioritize that. And the competition is low, which is fantastic. Then we have example number 2 here of blah, blah. This is timeless. We can post this at any time, and the search volume is high and the competition level is low. And then this piece of content right now is timeless. It is a high search volume and medium competition. But let's say if I were to change something here, blah, blah, let's say it's not actually a high search volume on that, it is a low. As you can see, it jumps down because search volume is considered more important than competition. So you can see this has a low competition, whereas this one has a medium one. However, it is still outranking it. Now, if you ever want to change what you classify as more important, we can do that. We'll just click on the filter here. Click on sort, and you can see here that I have timeliness, search volume, competition, and this is the importance level. So if you ever want to change that, let's say you think competition is the most important metric, then we can actually just drag this up like that, and you can see that this got reshuffled. So you can make this work to however you think is most suitable, but personally, this is the order that I use. Then we have another tab here of content that is in the works. Basically, is it just something that we are working on? We can also see published content, and we can also see a published gallery. So if you are a YouTuber or if you're creating video content, then you can add a thumbnail to this and view the gallery, which is super useful. And then we also have all content. If you ever want to find any piece of content and you're wondering where has it gone, have I labeled it wrong or anything like that, then you can click here and there are no filters, no sorting, nothing like that, and you can find it in here. So let's scroll down. We have 4 different parts of the content creator system that I find important. We have the strategy, we have the response, we have the monetization, and we have the support. All right, let's have a look at the keywords page. So on this page, we are working with something called the keyword score. So if you want to change this formula, you can definitely do that, but this is what I've found to be quite useful. So let's say we have a keyword here, thing. Okay, that's the keyword we're trying to rank for. And using our different tools, we can see that the search volume for this is about 40 per month. Now, the likelihood of us actually ranking well for this, let's say we're pretty confident. We think that we can rank for the word thing. Let's say the likelihood of this out of 10 is 9. So we can see here that the keyword score is 360. Let's add another keyword here and say item. Now, let's say the search volume for this is 1,000. So a lot of people are hypothetically searching for this keyword here. Now, the likelihood out of this is pretty low, let's say. We're looking at the different pieces of content and they seem pretty strong. We don't actually think we're going to rank well with this. So let's say it is 2 out of 10. Well, it's actually scoring a higher keyword score. The volume is 1,000, but the likelihood is low. However, the keyword score is 2,000. So with this keyword score, we can see that, you know what, it might be worth the risk of actually trying to rank for the word item, just because the word thing has such a low search volume. Now, if you don't want to use the keyword score, you can still use these tabs here. This one is just prioritizing volume, so whatever the highest volume is, that will come up. This tab is just prioritizing the likelihood. So this one, we have a highest likelihood, so it's going to prioritize that. And then in this tab, we can see any keyword that has been used. So let's say hypothetically, we use the word thing and make a piece of content with it. I'll click here and click on the content creator template. So that now gets removed from here and is now in the used section. So we have used this on this piece of content. That way on the keyword score, priority volume, and priority ease, we're only seeing stuff that we haven't used before. That way we can ensure that our content is going after different keywords. All right, on the content pillars page, here basically we can see all of our content pillars. If we click on a pillar and select the new pillar template, and as you can see, this is what it looks like. So I'll make it full screen. So here on this list, we're basically seeing any piece of content that is labeled under this pillar. And under that, we have the inspiration. So any piece of inspiration that we find and we think it is relevant to this pillar, we will find that here. This was a similar idea to my notes section in my headquarters template. Then we have the auto rank page, which is basically just this database here showing up on here in case you want a separate space for it. Then we have the analytics page. So what I'll do is scroll up here and change this from the planning phase to the uploaded and just drag it here, just for the sake of this tutorial. So I'll click on analytics here and we can see here that this piece of content is showing up here and it is under the channel of YouTube. So we can see our analytics either grouped by channel, by pillar, by CTA, or even listed by CTA clicks. So this section is useful for 2 main reasons. For seeing which CTA is actually performing best by different channel, by pillar, by CTA, and by tracking the view results. So here we can see, is it above, is it average, or is it under? So we can actually know what are the different views we're getting and how that compares by channel, by pillar, by CTA. This is a really useful way of understanding your content and understanding which content is performing well so you know where to actually angle your different channels. It's a great way of picking up on trends. It's kind of like my Move the Needle section in my productivity template headquarters, where you're seeing which tasks you've completed have moved the needle. This is kind of a similar idea where we're basically just saying, has the views been above, average, or under? Now, the reason I don't have this as a number is because you don't want to go in every single day and change the numbers. That's going to be exhausting and probably not worth it. We just want to get a quick understanding here. Is it performing above? Is it performing average? Or is it performing under? Then underneath here, we have the section called experiments. Now, I think this is really useful because I run quite a bit of experiments on my channel and with my newsletter as well. And it's just a really useful way of actually improving your content. So let's say I do an experiment of, say, subscribe in first 10 seconds. Let's say that is the experiment that I'm running. And I can actually select the content that I'm testing it with. So let's say this one here. And then here we're seeing a roll up with CTA clicks. So content creator template, let's say that this had 50 comments. So the CTA clicks here is for the CTA of comments. So if you have a link, then you would track that. If you're tracking comments, you would track that. Whatever the CTA is, you're tracking that here. So now we can see 50 here. And basically we can just run these little experiments and see how it's actually performing. Now the experiment might not be to do with CTA clicks, that's okay. One thing here that we're tracking is just, is it testing? Is it improved? Was there no difference or was it worse? Again, this isn't a number property. It's going to be very overwhelming to constantly go in and update these numbers. We're trying to keep this simple. All we want to understand here is, has it improved? Was there no big difference or did it make it worse? So let's say that saying subscribe in the first 10 seconds made a big impact. I'm going to say that this improved it. So that has then been added to the improved list so I can find it here. So this is a really useful way for me to find all the different mini things that I'm doing, the mini experiments that I'm running that are improving my content. So if I'm ever thinking, what are the different things that I'm doing that grow my channel? I can go back to this list and find all of these mini experiments that I'm running. If you're a content creator, I really recommend doing mini experiments and actually tracking them. That way you know where to focus your effort and how to keep improving every time you make a piece of content. Then we have the audience feedback section. This is a pretty basic page, but basically anytime we're seeing any feedback that we think, oh, I actually want to store that for later because that's kind of interesting, then we can write it down here. So I'm going to say your cursor moves too much. I keep getting that comment, so I'm adding that here. And we can say that the source is from comments because I keep getting that comment. It's just a useful place to track feedback that you actually find important. Then we have the content inspiration section. So anytime we find any content online that we find interesting and we actually want to save, then we can add that here and we can add the pillar to it. So I'm going to say that this is pillar 1 and the piece of content was how to Notion. And then we can add the URL here. And then like I showed before, this is going to show up on pillar 1 so we can find all of the related stuff on that page. Then on the monetize section, we have sponsors, affiliates, and CTAs. So on the sponsored section, here we're basically just seeing all the sponsors that we are currently working with. So are they in the sponsor stage? Basically anyone that is an actual sponsor. We also have leads because it is very useful to track different leads. So this can either be inbound or I pitched or in talks. So if it's an inbound, it's someone that's contacted you. And if it's labeled I pitched, then it's a company that you've reached out to and want to work with. And we also have the full list, which is just the full list of sponsors. Then down here, we have content revenue and revenue by sponsor. So content revenue is basically all of the revenue that you've made from sponsors. Here we can see $3 from example, and we have revenue by sponsor. So it actually breaks it down. Here we're seeing any time that example has sponsored a piece of content, it's going to show that up here. So if I add another one here, and let's say it was $6, we can see here that the sum is $9 in total from this sponsor here example. It's a really useful way of keeping track of sponsors and sponsor revenue. Then on this page here, we have affiliates, where basically you can just track all of your different affiliates. Example affiliate, you can add the link. You can add the link to your actual dashboard for this affiliate. You can add the commission and purchases. So let's say it's a $5 commission and you have had 50 purchases. You can see you have earned 250. This is super useful and a must-have for content creators with affiliates. And then we have the CTAs page. So this is basically any call to action that you're saying in a piece of content to your audience. So either comment or by publish OS, that would be a CTA, or by headquarters, anything like that. I'm tracking that in here and putting the URL. And then what we can see here is, let's say new blah blah, the CTA was publish OS, and for blah blah blah, the CTA was headquarters. We can track here the different CTA clicks. So publish OS, let's say that was 100, and blah, 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 let's say that was 100. So this tab here is showing the highest number of clicks first and working our way down. So if I change blah, blah, blah to 120, you can see that that is showing up above. So let's add some channels to this. I will say newsletter and then click on this to add that channel. And let's say this was also YouTube. And then add the content pillars. Let's say this was pillar 1. I'll make another one called pillar 2. Click on that. Let's say this was pillar 3. Obviously, you would call this whatever your pillar is. Then on this tab here, we are seeing everything broken down by pillar. So pillar 1, here we can see the average number of clicks is 120. For pillar 2, average is 100. Then we have the CTA tab where everything is broken down by CTA. And we can see the averages for that as well. And broken down by channel. This page is absolutely crucial for content creators who want to make this an actual business. You want to know what is your CTA, where are you driving people so you can actually follow the results here. Then under the support tab, we have team. So if we click on that, here we can add any team tasks. So let's add a hypothetical task of write sales copy. And we can assign that to a person by clicking here. And we can select a relevant piece of content for them. So if I click on that and let's say content creator template, they can see this is my task. This is the piece of content that it's relating to, and they can label the stage and we can label the stage. So right now it is just assigned. And if we want to add some details to the task, we just click on open here and fill out the details here. Blah, blah, blah. That is really useful instructions. Here we have a board view where basically we're just seeing from the assigned, working, for review, and complete. And if we scroll down, we have SOPs. Now this is blank, but it's definitely recommended that you add a bunch of SOPs in here. Anytime you're working with team members and you want to outsource stuff, it is super useful to have an SOP for that task. That way you can easily assign the task and make sure that they have all the relevant information that they need. Now on the team's dashboard, if we click on that and click on new member, I'll just make this full screen. So on this page, it is showing all the different tasks. We can click on filter, and here we can click on assign to and just show all the tasks assigned to a specific person. Super useful. And then you can click on share and invite them to this page. That way they're only seeing the tasks relevant to them, because if you're working on a team, you don't want to be distracted by everything else going on in the company or all the other different moving components. You only want to know what is all the stuff that's actually relevant to me. Then we have the networking page. On here, you can add any different networking, either a want to connect with, a reached out, a communication, a friend, or a collab. This is really useful. You can add that in here. So let's say that Mr. Blah wants to collab. We can also add an account URL and an email. And then on the want to connect tab, we are only seeing stuff that is either a want to connect with that person or we have reached out to this person. So we can click here and it will automatically add want to connect with, or we can change it to reached out. And we can say that we have reached out to example person. This is quite useful to track if networking is important for your content creation business. Then we have the tools tab where basically we're seeing any tool that is either a tool, a gear, or a software subscription. So the tool is Loom, for example. We can add a one-time cost, a monthly cost, annual cost, and we can select the card that we're using. So if you have a bunch of different business cards, you can add that here. And if it's no longer relevant, we can archive it. Let's say it's unsubscribed, it gets removed from this list, but we can always find it under archived. And then we have our asset library. So if we click on that, here we can track B-roll and we can click on different assets. So if you are a content creator who has a bunch of B-roll, but you're finding it difficult to organize everything, you can actually add the content here. If you have a Notion Plus account, so it can handle larger files, or if you have it in Dropbox or Google Drive or something like that, you can add the storage link here. You can also add a type to it. So if you're a content creator and you film a lot of stuff by your desk, you can add desk here. And then let's say you also have some shots outside, you can do that. And it's a really useful way to work, because then let's say you need a shot of you at the desk. You can just click on filter where the type is desk. And now you're only seeing stuff related to the desk and you have a quick access link to it here. Then underneath that, we have a gallery where you can add assets. So maybe you have link and bio text that you want to add here. Maybe you have a video description template that you always use. You can add that here. Maybe you have some branding stuff that you want to add, some patterns, some whatever it is. You can add all of that here so you have quick access to it as well. And then lastly, if we scroll down here, we have the channels and you can see channel 1, newsletter, and YouTube. And if we click on that and click on new channel, which is just a template, and let's make this full screen. So on this page now, we're seeing the posting schedule, which I'll talk about later. We are seeing the week view, which is just stuff relevant to YouTube. We are seeing the month view, again, just stuff relevant to YouTube. And if we scroll down, we can see the process here, again, just stuff relevant to YouTube. So this page can be a really useful way to work. And then we have the posting schedule. So I really recommend creating a posting schedule, and you can put that in here. So this is basically just a relation, and it is showing us the actual channel. So here we can say there is a newsletter coming on Tuesday. On Wednesday, we can say a YouTube video, and here we can add a time to it. So let's say this is at 10 a.m. at 2. Again, if you only do stuff at a certain time, you can just delete these. So you can see here, this is my posting schedule that I'm trying to stick to. If you use Headquarters and you're wondering how PublishOS connects to that, then don't worry, that will be part of the launch video. But I wanted to ensure that this template works for people that don't have Headquarters. But Headquarters will allow you to create tasks in here and have the relevant tasks show up on this page. This template was designed to make the content creation process as easy as possible. I used my Create system, which I'll talk about in the actual launch video, and the template was actually built around that methodology, so you can ensure that you're making content that A, resonates when it comes out, and B, has actual strategy behind it so you can grow your channel. Again, let me know your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear them. This is the beta video, and if it all seems positive, then I will release this very soon.